start. So I'm Evita. I work in the Adult Rights Department as a rights executive.
And I'm Sophia. I'm a rights assistant in the Children's Division.
Yes, we have a little presentation prepared to talk to you all about what rights is, and then we're going to end with some questions, which I feel like are always a good portion of a presentation. So, what is rights and what does the rights team do? So having rights in a book means we can make the book available in many different forms and formats, reaching many different readers beyond the core UK book buyer. So essentially, we are a sales team. We sublicense our books to third-party publishers to be published internationally. So it can be, for example, in translation, so rights to foreign language publishers. It can be rights to other English language publishers, so the US and Canada. And North America is the biggest and most valuable international market we work in. We can also sublicense our books for media rights, so for film, TV, and stage adaptations. And there are many more rights that a book can be sublicensed in. So, for example, adapted for audio or large print, which is a domestic edition. In our team at PRH, we have the Children Rights Department, we have the Adult Rights Department, and the Media Rights Department, each one of them with a different specialty. But how does a book get published in another language? There are two main ways in which we sell rights to our books. So we can do it remotely over email or perhaps phone calls. And the other kind of like context is when we go to international book fairs or on sales trip and we pitch our books in person. And it's all done to maximize the potential of them, both in terms of reaching more readers and generating more income for the author. So we're a very important sales channel. So we really look at what's happening in the UK. So what type of campaign has been planned? When is the publishing date falling in the calendar, both for the hardback and the paperback edition. And we would also take a selection of our books in what we call the rights catalog. So again, when we go to book fairs or to sales trip, and everything is shared with international publishers. And at that point, we have hopefully offers coming in. So if it's coming from one publisher, we will likely kind of like negotiate some terms and perhaps the advanced level or the term of license, but we will likely go for them. Or if we have more than one publisher, we're going to start an auction. So it becomes very interesting from like a negotiating and selling point of view, because we're going to ask them for the highest and best offers. And either the publisher is going to print the translated edition, or we are going to print the translated edition for them. And Sophia is going to talk a bit more about this process.
Yeah, so one type of deal that we can make in rights is a co-edition deal, which means that we print the translated editions for the foreign publisher. So multiple foreign publishers will print the same book on one co-edition schedule and at the same printer. The reason co-edition deals are so common, particularly in children's publishing, is that as the quantity of books being printed at the same time increases, the price of the printing will decrease. So that means that co-edition deals are a lot more profitable for sort of color and illustrated books, for example, preschool and picture books, and also adult illustrated books such as coffee table books. So usually the way that this process works is that the sort of the illustrated layer, the illustrations stay the same, and the black text just gets swapped out by the printer depending on the language. So a big part of my job as a rights assistant is overseeing this co-edition printing process. So I'm in contact with the foreign publisher, but also with in-house production, who in turn talk to the printer. So this graph sort of shows how this process works, and the stars symbolize wherever we come in as rights assistants. So at the beginning, I get the co-edition files from our design team and I pass them on to the foreign publisher. They then translate those files, send them back to me, and I pass them on to the printer. The printer then creates plotters. So those are basically PDFs of what the book is going to look like once it's printed. Those get sent to me. I pass them on to the foreign publisher. They either approve the files or they send corrections. And once the files have been approved, the book is printed and advance copies are sent to the publisher. They then tell me if they approve the advance copies, and then the books are shipped to the customer. So it's a very collaborative process involving a lot of different departments, and we all work together to make sure that the foreign publisher in the end gets what they ordered.
Yes. As Sophia says, we should mention as well that we work very, very close to closely to many different departments in the publishing industry. We seem kind of detached from everything, but we're actually it's a very collaborative environment. So we work with editorial, production, we work with design, we work with many different people. So just to give you a sense of like kind of the physical product and the physical result of what we do, we prepare a couple of slides. This is for an adult title by one of our most prominent writers, Václav Smil, and is for his book Numbers Don't Lie. You can see here on the screen different covers from many different international editions of his book, and how different publishers in different countries kind of interpreted the title and kind of made it work for their different markets and for their markets' needs. So on the top left and side, you will see in the yellow one, Numbers Don't Lie, is the English edition, and then you can see the Spanish, the Hungarian, the Portuguese, Estonian, Thai, complex Chinese, Italian. So it's a very different interpretation of what the book is, and I think it's extremely fascinating to see it.
Yeah, and here we've got an example from the children's side of things. This is from The Swifts, which is one of our middle grade series. And yeah, you can also see the different covers that the different publishers have chosen. I always find that really interesting because the publishers can adapt the covers depending on what works for their market. So it's always really interesting to see how they change the covers to match their markets.
And a key component of our job is traveling, which, if you ask me, is one of the best parts. So in this slide, you can see different places that we've been to in the last year. So, for example, I sell in Greece, Romania, Vietnam, Thailand, many different markets, and obviously they have very different needs. So we try to travel as much as we can, obviously, to be in touch as much as possible with the market and visit, for example, the local bookshops to see what's working, what's perhaps not working, what's different from the UK, from like a typical UK bookshop, for example. And we also have different kind of appointments and book fairs that we go to. So, for example, the biggest one for adult titles is Frankfurt, but which is happening in October, but there is also London happening in March, and for children's title is Bologna happening in March as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's very short, and we hopefully not boring sum up of what we do. But again, we think that it's quite interesting to ask more questions perhaps on our jobs. So
Amazing. Oh, thank you guys so much. No, that was so interesting. I didn't know anything about the rights department. So now I've learned a lot, and I've really enjoyed seeing the different book covers. I thought I was looking at like 10 different books, and then I realized it's the same book. So that's super interesting. And also the traveling element of it as well.
Yeah.
Sounds really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone does have any questions, make sure you ask it in the chat box. Do you want to just stop sharing your screen for a second and then people can see us? There we go. Perfect. So what does a typical day look like for someone in the rights department?
So a typical day for me is a lot of emails. So it's a lot of being in contact with the foreign publisher and the different departments within Penguin. So yeah, my day can always look very different depending on sort of what co-edition deadlines are coming up, or if we've got a new book that's been acquired and we need to send submission letters out, which are basically like pitch material to help our managers pitch the books. So yeah, it's always really varied.
Yeah. For me, so I just came back from one of my business trip. I went to the Sharjah Book Fair, which is Sharjah is very close to like another state very close to Dubai. So what I'm gonna be doing today, for example, is to follow up with the customer that I saw there and talk to them a bit more about the titles that we discussed and give them a bit more info on them. How many, where for example, if the rights to that book has been sold in other languages, so that I'm gonna give them like a full recap of what we discussed, and perhaps if they want to submit an offer, take that forward. What else? We are gonna have like a new inter starting tomorrow, so there is some prep to do for that. But yes, as Sophia was saying, it's really like there is no one day that looks the same as the other. So it's a very interesting and varied job. So that's also part of why I like it, for example.
Love that. So you're not just sitting at your desk all day.
No,
Yeah.
we are talking to people in person as well, both in the office and like outside. Yeah.
So fun. So much fun. We do actually have a question from Kat who says, what skill set would be really useful for getting into this career? Yeah, what type of person would be best
I
for
think
us?
if you're very good at sort of teamwork and collaboration, and if you also enjoy working together with people to sort of solve problems and make a project come together, and also sort of the usual of being very organized, staying up on top of things, and being able to work under pressure. But I think also a skill set is being able to read a book and sort of see its potential for how it could work, and maybe how it could work for different audiences, and what different markets and cultures could get out of it. Yeah.
Definitely. I would say also being very curious. So for example, if you like to travel, like just pop in the local bookshop and just see what they're selling there, you know, like how did they translate perhaps a UK book, the concept in another language. So that's again like this element of curiosity and interest in other cultures is definitely a plus. Communication for sure, like being able to communicate. We say that like obviously speaking another language is an advantage, is not necessary, but obviously it's going to help you a lot to understand another market. And definitely also if you have any sort of retail job, essentially this is a sale, like a job in sales. So any kind of like selling and negotiation ability that you have is going to be advantageous for you. When I joined the publishing industry, I didn't have much experience in an office kind of like environment, but I did have experience in retail and selling. So that's definitely something that you should consider as an advantage rather than a disadvantage.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. And like so many, young people have weekend jobs or working part-time, and
Exactly.
it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly in publishing,
No,
but
because you would assume that is not relevant, perhaps if you're applying for a job like that, but actually that was the type of experience that perhaps made me stand out a bit more compared to somebody that had other office job, because it's a very dynamic job. So,
yeah.
and at the time I was thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't mention it because it's not what they're looking for, but it's definitely like something that you should be mentioning.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. When you are applying to jobs, just try and make sure that the link is really clear to what you're
Yes.
applying for.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
rights is to do
Yeah.
with sales and, like you said, negotiation, and how are
Yeah.
you using those skills in other jobs that you've done. Okay, great. Well, thank you. Hopefully that answered your question, Kat. We do have some other questions though. Well, what is it like working for such a big brand like Penguin Books? That must be quite exciting.
It is really exciting. It's
Yeah.
really interesting. It's sort of the scope is just much bigger of sort of the range of publishers that we work with all around the world in many different countries, and also sort of the range of books, and the range of genres that we have, which again makes our days really varied, and sort of some genres will work for some markets and
Yeah.
others will work better for other markets. So yeah.
This year was also our 90th anniversary at PRH, so we had a lot of events going on, and obviously the chance to meet such important and prestigious authors is something that I never take for granted. So we had a lot of parties and a lot of events. We celebrated Mary Berry's 90th birthday, which was very
Oh,
surreal.
fun.
Yeah, so we all sang for her, and it was really...
As in you met her?
Yeah, we
Oh,
saw
wow.
her.
Okay. Love
Yeah.
that. Oh, big
Yes.
fan. And what's the culture like working in Penguin? Because I've luckily been to your office, which is amazing. It's this big office near Vauxhall, isn't it, in London? But it just seemed like a very creative, cool place to work.
For sure. And at the end of it, we're all people that are passionate about reading, and like we want to make reading available to everybody. So we have a lot of things that we can discuss about. Again, it's very collaborative. There are a lot of very, very nice people that absolutely would be down to have a chat and like talk to anybody more about their jobs. Yeah, so I
You get lots of free books. Any perks?
yeah.
All the time.
It's one of them. But also we have a lot of, again, like authors coming in to talk about their books. So it's surreal. And we also have like the kind of like the Penguin audio team in like the studios to register when they record the audiobook. So we have a few celebrities showing up.
Oh.
Unfortunately, not on that floor, but I've heard
Yeah.
of like very big names, kind of like just walking in casually.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, familiar faces.
Yeah.
And what would be your biggest advice for someone who is at the very, very, very beginning stages thinking about publishing? You know, they might have a passion in books, love reading. What would you say? What would be your biggest advice?
I think I would say start by sort of doing research into the publishing industry and seeing what kind of role you could see yourself in. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people who think of publishing, they think of being an editor.
I was gonna
But
say that.
yeah, and that is only like one of 100 different ways
Yeah.
that you can be in publishing. So yeah, maybe do some research into what role you think could work for you. And then I think also sort of find a very small environment that you can start doing some publishing work in, whether that's working for a school newspaper or a uni newspaper, or working in sort of marketing for a uni event or something like that. Or even if you find like a very small publisher that offers like internship or work experience, I think starting in sort of a small environment, you're going to gain a lot more experience very quickly, and you'll probably also get more responsibility very quickly. So yeah, you'll really be able to gain a lot of experience that you can then use when you're applying for bigger publishing houses.
Totally agree. Like there are so many ways that you can gain very valuable experience without having a job in the office necessarily. So for me, for example, was also volunteering for small like book events or again like local kind of book festivals. That was a great way to kind of meet people that were already in the industry, meet authors, and kind of show them in my interviews what I was doing to get connected with the book world. Even like again in retail selling books, be like a Christmas step and Waterstones. It's great experience, honestly, and it seems so obvious, but yes, so many people kind of think that you need to know everything about the industry. But again, coming in with a very curious attitude and curious mind, but we're already showing that you are part of the world already, because obviously booksellers are so incredibly important in our industry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, definitely. And I think when I learned more about publishing, like you said, there's so many different areas, and you know, there's children books, like you're saying, that is a whole area. So there's different
Yeah.
genres as well. So there's so much to it. And how did you guys, like individually, what was your first job? Like, how did you get into publishing?
So I started working part-time during uni. I started working at a really small publishing company. I think the team was maybe like 7 people. And I was working part-time for them doing sort of their permissions. So anytime they wanted to use like a text extract or a picture or something in one of their books, I had to contact the copyright holder and ask them if we could do that. So that was also sort of a good experience to sort of learn customer service and customer contact and negotiation. And but yeah, that was really a sort of environment where, because it was so small, I could talk to so many different people and learn from them and see what they were doing. And yeah.
Yeah, for me, I was in John Lewis and Partner. I was just working there as a sales assistant, and in the meantime, I was attending a lot of events by the Society of Young Publishers. They're a great non-profit organization. They organize a lot of events around the world of publishing and like the different departments
What's that called
exist.
again?
The Society of Young Publishers.
The Society of Young Publishers. Okay, well, we'll put that link in the chat.
Yeah, I think it would be very useful because they do a lot of free events, and I went to one of their events, which is called the Career Speed Dating, where they organize for each table to have a representative of more than one from different areas of publishing. So I sat with the rights table and I realized what it was, because at the beginning our name can be a bit deceiving because it sounds very like that we do something with law or legal, and it's not at all what we do. So when I had a chance to talk to somebody that was actually working in the rights department, I thought it was amazing. And all of my experience made sense as well, like in like kind of trying to get a job there. And through somebody that I met there, they told me about a job that wasn't necessarily advertised. They were just looking for somebody covering for 3 months. So I went for that opportunity, and then yeah, more happened, and I ended up in Penguin Random House, which is fantastic.
Oh, love that. Fantastic, guys. Well, time is up already. It's so quick.
Yeah.
But could you talk to everyone about any opportunities in the rights department? Like, do you guys offer internships or apprenticeships?
Yes, so Penguin Random House offers different kind of placements throughout the year. There is like a 2-week placement that we are now open to rights as well. We recently had an intern that she stayed with us for a couple of months. So the opportunities are there. Everything would be advertised on our website, and we are really trying to involve more and more people and kind of like open this type of internship and placement to rights again, because it's not perhaps the most obvious department that people would want to go for when
Yes.
thinking of a career in publishing, but we are there, we do exist, so we are
Yeah.
working really hard to make us more accessible to everybody.
Amazing. And Penguin is a partner on the Eric app. So if you guys download the Eric app, you can access all of your early career opportunities on there. But I'll also post the links to your website as well. But I think what is really interesting is now you guys know about what rights is and what rights department is. You could do rights in like lots of different publishers. So it doesn't have to just be
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
absolutely.
like you said, there might be a local publisher that is in your area, but now you know the world of rights, this exciting world of rights. So hopefully we've inspired a few people to maybe check it out and follow that career path. But thank you guys so much.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you to
Really
you.
appreciate it.